for his statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Благодарю вас, господин председатель.
Thank you, Mr. President. We thank Special Envoy Martin Griffiths, Under-Secretary General Mark Lowcock, and the Executive Director of the World Food Programme, David Beasley, for their comprehensive overview of the situation in the military, political and humanitarian spheres in the Yemeni Republic. We support the mediation efforts undertaken by Martin Griffiths and Lieutenant General Michael Lolsgaard, who are trying to get the parties to the Yemeni conflict to acknowledge that a military solution will not bear fruit. We are convinced that implementing the Stockholm agreements remains possible. And in this connection, we welcome progress reached by the parties during the joint meeting of the Redeployment Coordination Committee under the leadership of General Lolosgard, in particular when it comes to coming up with confidence-building measures. Concluding the redeployment of armed forces from the ports of Hodeidah, Salif and Ras Issa undoubtedly will help to unblock other aspects of the Stockholm agreements, including the exchange of prisoners of war and de-escalation in Taiz, and will help move to the discussion of the framework parameters for a settlement. Together, we all voted in support of extending the mandate of the UN mission in support of the agreement on Hodeidah. We are confident that the further deployment of an international presence will support the process of separating the conflicting parties in the city itself and will support the stabilization of the situation in Yemen in general. Undoubtedly, we can't expect instant results. The bulk of the work lies ahead, and Russia will continue to provide assistance to UN mediation in Yemen in its national capacity and also as a member of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. Mark and David today presented a dire picture of the situation in the Yemeni Republic, where one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world is unfolding. This crisis is structural in nature. It has done irreparable damage to the population of Yemen, its economy and civilian infrastructure. Millions of Yemenis are hungry and are unable to get the necessary medical services and medicines. They are in need of one form of assistance or another. The country is once again in the grip of a cholera epidemic, and each day that passes makes the situation worse. We are approaching a point of no return. Providing humanitarian assistance to Yemen must be one of the priority areas of our work, and assistance to the population of Yemen must be provided on a non-discriminatory basis, regardless of who controls the territory where those people are living. Once again, we call for a comprehensive ceasefire, ensuring unfettered humanitarian access in all parts of the country and the unquestioned compliance with provisions of international humanitarian law. All participants in the Yemen conflict must immediately stop indiscriminate strikes on civilian objects, refrain from aggressive, provocative rhetoric, and show restraint. Mr. President, in conclusion, we would like to recall Security Council Resolution 598, which we constantly remind you of, which instructed the UN Secretary-General in interaction with regional states to come up with an architecture for security and confidence in the region. This architecture, in which all key countries in the region, the states of the Persian Gulf and Iran, should participate in, would help not only to strengthen comprehensive and indivisible security in this part of the world, but also resolve long-standing and new crisis situations, including the Yemen conflict. In this connection, our proposal to launch in the Persian Gulf and then ultimately in the entire Middle East a process of coming up with a package of security and confidence-building measures remains on the table and remains relevant, and we continue repeatedly to say this. This comprehensive formula would allow us to replace threats and confrontation with dialogue and interaction, and also improve the atmosphere, which incidentally would be an important contribution to the success in the Yemeni area that has been achieved under UN auspices. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation.